Well, and it is that time for our special guest of the Monday to start us off in a good roll of the entire week. That's right, I'm talking about Lori Hoff. She's the CEO and founder of OMI Outreach Ministries, a nonprofit helping at-risk youth. OMI is leading the first National Youth Week for across the U.S. on June 13th. She was also the board chair for Big Brothers Big Sisters and established a food pantry for the working poor in Middlesex County. We're talking to Lori Hoff. Welcome to the show, Lori.
Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning. I appreciate you so much right now because you are doing something that is so necessary with the teens. But I have to ask, why are you doing this? There's always that why. What in your life made you want to reach out to the teens?
It's so funny you asked that because when I went to the first high school when we were talking about National Youth Week, I actually got interviewed by the high school paper. And the first thing the girl said is, you have a great job, you're working, why do you care about us? And my answer simply was, when I was a teen, I had no one. Abusive father, mother was kind of just dealing with the effects of an abusive father. Grandmother was killed in a car accident. She was really my mentor. So I kind of just went to a dark place and had no one. So my mission in life is to make sure that if there's a youth out there, that they always have someone and don't have to deal with that.
Well, it's interesting. I just also came back from a high school 2 weeks ago, talking to many of them on and motivating them. And it is true what you said, because I think both of us, we remember our teens, we remember our, the highs, the lows, and your lows were much more lower than my lows. But it is important for the kids that sometimes feel that they're alone. I see many with anger management problems. Like, they have a lot of anger because of things that are happening in their life. What is it that you recommend for those teens that are going through all of this?
So you mentioned anger, and one of the things that National Youth Week we're really promoting is that one of the leading causes of death in young people is homicide. A lot of people think it's suicide, and it's actually homicide. And anger is one of the factors that we've uncovered is one of the issues. So you have conflict, anger, and self-esteem. We are actually working with youth to come up with an app. So we're talking about social media, using it for good, having the kids actually create this app that is going to be a meter, that is, you're going to answer a couple of questions as a young person, and it will determine if you have a problem with anger, you have a problem with conflict. Because if you grow up in an angry environment, you don't necessarily know you're angry. And the beautiful thing about the app is it will then geocode to a youth organization in your area. So I'm a big believer that youth want help. They just don't know how to get it. Sometimes they don't even know how to communicate that they need it. So this will be a way where they can self-identify, hey, I didn't know I had, an issue with this, and these people are able to help me. So we're super excited about that.
I think even adults don't know exactly how to help children that have anger, or themselves sometimes, because I know I heard a young teen, she was 12. She said, I have anger management problems. And I'm like, what do you do with that? Like, she is aware she has anger, built up anger. What do you do with that? What is the recommendation there?
Right. Definitely talk to someone that you trust. Sometimes the anger is worse on the inside because it's not getting out. And so anger is coming from pent-up frustration, not being able to express themselves. One of the things that we like to do is give youth a voice, because sometimes they feel that they don't have a voice. Sometimes they're just very short-tempered and need to learn how to kind of work through that anger, work through some of that. Be careful of who their friends are, because they might be friends with people that are short-tempered and be adding to their anger. A lot of it is your associations and what you allow in. And some of it is as simple as, I have a lot of anger, and maybe I need to go to the gym. I need to go for a walk for a half hour. I need to do some type of physical exercise to release some of this. So talking to someone that can kind of help you talk through your anger, but also sometimes, like I was a counselor for the state of New Jersey. Some of the young people had bipolar and different issues, and sometimes it was as simple as entering some type of physical exercise into your daily routine. Because as we know, sometimes our young people are not getting out of the house.
Yes, I mean, I used to be that person too, but it was video games for me, so I took out my anger on the video games. But let's go back a little. You've also talked about volunteering and how that can be a gateway for those that have these frustrations. And again, I want to go back to saying many of these frustrations are real and valid. We never want to minimize them, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so when you mentioned about the food pantry, the thing that was neat about the food pantry is it was run by youth. So this was a few years ago when a lot of people were losing their jobs, let's say back in 2007, and there was a big shift in the income, and a lot of CEOs and different C-levels were losing their jobs. And so they still had huge bills. They still had, children to care for. And so we wound up coming together as young people and putting together a food pantry for working poor. So I'm still working, but I still have all these bills, and I can't feed my young person. So what happened was they didn't want to hear from me, but we put together palm cards, and we went door to door, and the young people invited these families to come out, and we wound up getting around 150 families within 6 months. We were feeding, we were doing events. We made it fun. Like, food insecurity is a real issue, but we tried to make it fun for the young people. Like, it is fun to volunteer. And if you've ever volunteered, you get so much more back than you ever give. And it really transformed them. It gave them business skills. It gave them an opportunity to really feel connected to the community where they lived.
Well, it is the golden rule, right? Happiness, there's more happiness in giving than in receiving, and you're helping the kids do that. Can you tell me, you work with a lot of at-risk teens. Can you share with me a story of one that you were able to reach out to and what they're doing now and perhaps what they were doing before?
Sure. So I could think of one in particular, and it was actually a challenge and a struggle. So her mom was on drugs at an early age. She was really taking care of her brother and cooking and doing different things, and really took her under my wing. She calls me Mama Lori, and if she's listening, she'll be laughing, but she couldn't stand me. She gave me the hardest time. She couldn't stand me, and I couldn't figure out what's wrong with this kid. Like, we're supporting her, helping, listening to everything, and it really wound up that I was around her mother's age. So it was like, why do you care?
Oh.
But Mom doesn't. And so that's why I always try to bring it back to that bridge with the young people with their parents, because a young person will always want their parent no matter what the situation is. And so we work to, bridge that gap. And she's now in her 20s, successfully working, holding down a job, making a difference in her area. And I'm just really super proud because she could have went a completely different way. Dad was in jail. Mom spent some jail time. She's never had any jail time. She's a productive member of society. And that's really the goal for any young person. I mean, I've raised kids probably 15 years in my home, and my goal was always for them to be productive members of society. Whether it's an electrician, a plumber, whether you do go to school, whatever that next step is, but that you give back into society versus take.
Well, I appreciate each and everything that you are doing, especially for the teens. Where can people get more information, either to be in line to get this app or even to contribute to this? Where do we find you?
Sure. So we are on www.nywusa. So it's nationalyouthweekusa.com. We're at NYWUSA. We're hashtag NYWUSA. So anything NYWUSA, you can absolutely reach us.
Awesome. I'm going to be following you right now. Everybody else should as well. NYWUSA, National Youth Week, going to be happening by, is it OMI or OMI? OMI?
Oh, OMI.
OMI, okay, a nonprofit supporting at-risk youth. Thank you so very much, Lori, for all that you do.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. You can also check out her book, Teen Code, A Rock Star's Life. It also provides a resource for teens, teachers, counselors, and religious figures to dialogue around the challenges facing youth and teens today. Go check it out right now. We're going to take another break here on The Morning Show. We'll be right back right after these messages. Don't go anywhere.